The Little Green Frog. Chapter 8. Lost. Jock was upset. Mrs. Brown said he must have gotten out the wrong side of the bed, and that made him feel even more upset. He pushed the baby when she bumped into him. He didn't like his breakfast and wouldn't eat. Mrs. Brown told him to go outside and not come back in until he could be good. Jock went out to find Biddy and met her coming down the road. They climbed a fence and wandered through the fields. When they came to a fence post, Biddy took Froggy out of her pocket and set him up on top of it. "There, Froggy," she said. "Now you can see almost to China." "You're silly to talk to that frog. He can't hear you." "I know, but it's fun to pretend. Besides, he looks pretty sitting up in the sun. The light makes his eyes shine." "Well, I think he looks silly. I'd like to throw him in the duck pond and see if the ducks would think he's so pretty." "I think I will," he said, and grabbed the frog. "No," cried Biddy, but it was too late. Jock was off and running with the frog, and Biddy was running after him. "Give me back my frog," she screamed at him. "You can't have him." Jock laughed and kept on running as fast as he could. Biddy began to catch up with Jock. She grabbed his coat and jerked him to a stop, and began to pound him with her fists. "Give me Froggy, give me that frog," she demanded. Suddenly Jock pulled free and quickly threw the frog into a tangle of blackberry bushes. Biddy's eyes grew wide and frightened. She ran to the blackberry patch and looked in between the bushes, but she couldn't see the frog anywhere. She sat down on the ground and began to cry. Jock was not cross any more. Now he felt sorry for what he had done. Quietly he walked to Biddy's side. "Don't cry, Biddy. I'll find him for you. I'm sorry." Biddy stood up and wiped her eyes on her sleeve. She started into the bushes, but she had to go slowly because they pulled at her clothes and scratched her arms and legs. Jock plunged in after her, and together they looked for Froggy. They looked and looked all morning, up and down the berry patch and all along the edges, but they could not find the lost frog. "Maybe I could buy a new one," Jock said hopefully. "No," said Biddy, "it wouldn't be the same. That was the frog that Amma gave me, that her father gave her. Another one just wouldn't be the same." Jock had to leave and Biddy went off toward her house. She didn't walk very fast. She was too sad, thinking about her lost frog. Maria met Biddy at the door. "My patience, Biddy, what have you been doing? Why, your arms and legs are all scratched and your dress is torn. Lucky for you, your aunt is out, or you'd get a scolding." Biddy began to cry. "Why, Biddy, what's the matter?" Maria stooped down and put her arm around Biddy's shoulder, but Biddy could not stop crying. After a little while she was able to tell Maria what had happened. "I guess I shouldn't have hit Jock," she sniffed. "Maybe he wouldn't have thrown the frog away." "Now, Biddy, don't blame yourself. Jock was a bad boy to do that. I'll go out and try to find the frog after a while. Right now, you must have some lunch and get some clean clothes on and take a short nap." When Biddy was all alone in her room, she got quietly down on her knees and whispered, "Oh, please, Father in heaven, forgive me for not fighting Giant Temper. I'm sorry I hit Jock, and please, please let me find Froggy. It would be so bad to lose him. Amen." When Biddy's nap was over, Maria said that they would go together to look for Frog again. When they got there, they found Jock down on his hands and knees. "Jock, you bad boy, what are you doing here?" scolded Maria. "Don't scold, please," said Biddy. "Jock is sorry, aren't you?" Jock hung his head and said that he was very sorry, and that he had come to look for the frog again. So all three began to look carefully all around the briar patch, but they could not find the frog. "It's nearly 4:30, said Maria, holding her back as she straightened up. "We'd better be going home. Your Aunt Hannah will be home at 5. We'll have to come back tomorrow." When Aunt Hannah returned, Maria met her at the door and motioned her into the kitchen to tell her about the lost frog. I don't think Biddy could tell you, said Maria. She's so sad that she starts to cry whenever she tries. Well, I think that Jock is a naughty boy. Maybe Bridget shouldn't play with him any more. Oh, Biddy has forgiven him, and he may be able to help find the frog. Aunt and Hannah asked where the frog had been lost, and Maria tried to explain where they had looked. That evening, Aunt Hannah went out into the woods to look for the frog, but she couldn't find it either. It seemed that the little green frog was gone forever.